Football have some carryover on offense and some carry on defense, whether that's coverage or front, and maybe a few run plays or pass plays. So a speed period is going to be really good, and then obviously as we get closer, we're going to have to move more towards scout period type things, but we will continue to have some good-on-good speed periods.
When will you go into scouts to get?
I think right now the plan is we're going to, stay with some good-on-good and then try to help each other out by the correct script so we can get some looks at some of the Illinois stuff on both sides of the football. And then probably, definitely next week, probably the end of this week is when you'll get true scouts looks, yeah.
How's that? You've got sort of a top three inside linebacker, but how do you like the depth after those guys? And who might round out that rotation, or what have you seen from the young guys trying to?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, the decisions that are going to have to be made this week. I think right now 4 guys at the top are playing really well. Nick, Luke, Chris, Garrett Snodgrass. And then in that next few guys, you've got, Jackson Hanna, Ba, and Grant Taggy. And to me, a little bit of that's going to be determined by special teams. Some of those guys might have to be the next guy up, even if they're neck and neck, just because purely they're on special teams, they're on the bus. We need to get them reps. So I think that next 3 is going to shake out here in this week, and it's going to be determined a lot by special teams.
Snodgrass got his feet wet a little bit last year, but what sort of jump is he, or where have you seen his game, progress this offseason?
Yeah, so Garrett's a really, really smart football player. He's got a lot of length. I think his transitions have been a lot better. I think his twitch has gotten a lot better, and just his anticipation of where he has to be and where he needs to go, that's all gotten a lot better with him. He's continued to raise his level of play, since the first day we got here.
How has the competition at corner developed through this month?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one that's still going right now. A lot of guys at the top, Quentin Newsom, Tyreek Johnson, Braxton Clark, and you're seeing a couple young guys really come on too. Marquise Buford's done some nice things, and so has Malik Williams over the last week. So that position's got to shake out a little bit for us as well. They're all kind of those top 3: Braxton, Tyreek, Quentin. They're all getting reps to the ones right now. So that's a good competition.
Do you think Tyreek would? I mean, I know he, of course, had talent. Do you think that his first weeks in the program would go as smoothly as they have?
I guess yes and no. You never know with a new guy, but you got a guy that came from a program that's a well-run program that's had success, so you knew that he was going to be used to the day in and day out. He was going to be used to practicing the right way. So that part of it you thought would be smooth. It was just learning the new language and getting along with the guys, but he's done a really good job with that so far.
What are you looking for those guys to separate themselves over this next week or so?
At the corner position, yeah, I think to me it's they're all playing well right now. Somebody's just got to go take it. Somebody's got to find a way to get their hands on some balls. Somebody's got to show up and let us know that they're ready to tackle. And then once again, who can be on special teams a little bit, because those guys are all going to have to help us.
How's your pass rush been so far in camp? Maybe like Caleb Tanner and Feldarius Payne on it?
Yeah, I think it's. We all know, we got to create some more pressure on the quarterback. The pass rush in camp so far has been much improved. Is it where we want it to be? No. We still got a ways to go, but it's been much improved from last year's. Same group, but much improved from this group to last group just by their growing within themselves.
Caleb's the guy that came in, everybody kind of knew he was going to have to put on weight and all that stuff. But he played as a true freshman. How have you seen him develop to where he came in as to this point?
Yeah, he's probably still got to put on a little weight, but he's figuring out his body. He's figuring out his position. He knows what he can and can't do. When you come in as a highly rated kid out of high school, you got to kind of figure out what you can get away with in college and what you can't get away with. He could get away with about anything you wanted. Now it's, you're not as big as some of those guys, but you got speed on your side, so how can you use that to your advantage? And I think he's kind of figuring that out as he goes.
We saw Jordan Reilly some highlights, blowing up a few plays. Looks different, definitely, when he was up here last week. What do you I know Coach Tuioti mentioned him as a nose guy. Does he also go out and play on the edge, or what do you see from him?
Yeah, he's played nose for us. He's also played some 4-eye, and then when we're in the 4-down stuff, he's played shade and 3 technique. Like you said, he's done a great job developing his body. He's much leaner, twitchier with him as well. He's got great length. You guys have seen him in person, you know that. But I think the biggest thing for him is he's much more comfortable in knowing what his job is in each defense and knowing what he has to do before he lines up. There's not a lot of thinking going on anymore, and he's able to just play ball, and that's helped him out a ton.
What's your viewpoint on the offense, the running game, the way that's come together?
Of our offense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I like what they're doing. I'm not going to give out a bunch of scheme stuff and all that kind of thing, but I like what they're doing. They're doing a good job of running that ball downhill. Those guys are tight ends, offensive line, physical up front. Those backs are running the ball really hard. They've got some nice install pieces that they haven't had maybe previously that I really like, and I like how the passing game's kind of built off some of those run actions. So I really like what they're doing right now.
As a former offensive lineman yourself, have you noticed those guys getting bigger and more depth over the last few years?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's team-wide, that's globally, but you talk about the offense and the defensive line, you've seen those body types really change, a lot more length, and with a lot more length, Zach Duvall's had a chance to add on the bulk that we want with those guys, and they're maintaining athleticism, becoming stronger, but yet becoming bigger, which is a great sign for the strength conditioning program.
I'm sure you love that both, but if you could have just one, would you rather have a really good pass rusher or a lockdown corner? I asked a couple guys in the NFL about this, and they have both said corner, because we can scheme the pressures, but we can't scheme the lockdown corner.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. If we know we got a lockdown guy, we can bring extra rushers in pass situations. So I think, as you're going out to recruit people, those are like the 1 and 2, 1A, 1B. You got to find some of these corners, and then you got to find somebody that can go rush the passer. In the NFL, it's a little bit of a different game. The quarterback's not running the football. The back's not getting out. They're not putting 5 out all the time in the passing game. So those pass rushers and those corners really get to affect the game a lot. They do at this level too. When you got a great corner, you don't have to worry about him. You can double somebody else on 3rd down. You can send extra rushers. There's a lot of things you can do with a lockdown corner. Now in the college game, if you have a war daddy off the edge too, that changes things a little bit too, and you can dictate protections and those types of things a little bit. So I think those are kind of 1A and 1B, probably lockdown corners 1A, pass rushers 1B.
Do you feel like Cam has reached that echelon of a player at the collegiate level?
Yeah. Do I think Cam has parts of his game that he can work on? Absolutely. Do I think that he's done a nice job of putting himself into a position to be one of the top corners in the country? Absolutely. So he just got to keep up in the ante, and he can do whatever he wants. The potential's unlimited there, but Cam's a tremendous football player.
Where has Ty Robinson progressed the most?
I think when you watch Ty last year, and this is me watching film, maybe not you guys watching the football game, you guys saw a lot of good things that he did. I just saw a lot of mistakes as a young guy. And a lot of times where nobody else in the stadium would know that maybe a run got popped because, a young guy made a mistake. He's done a really good job this camp of gap integrity, doing his job, knowing when to take a shot, knowing when he has to go play a block and he can't get knocked out. So he's just, the mental side of his game, I think, has grown a lot since we stopped the season last year to beginning the season this year.
That kind of shows that you have pretty high expectations, even relative to other players because of maybe what his ceiling is.
Yeah, his physical ability and his size, there's no question that he belongs in the conversation with a lot of those great three techniques in college football in the league. It's just can he play as well as some of those other guys do? Because in this football league, in the Big Ten especially, even those defensive linemen, they have a great understanding of scheme and what they need to get done. You just don't see a lot of D linemen going, cowboy, going rodeo out there and just doing whatever they want. Everybody's coached those guys up pretty well in this league, and that's the part of his game where if he can get dialed in, he's got all the physical ability in the world.
Thank you.
How do you size up how this? I know you're kind of concluding camp now. How do you size up how it's gone for you and the defense?
I'd say it's been going pretty good. We just come into practice every day, competing, trying to get better, make mistakes now so we can correct them in practice so that we're perfect in the game. And it's really just been about effort and competing every day, just coming out just with the best effort and, just giving the offense the best look we can.
What's this last year been like for you personally, just kind of keeping your head up after the injury and coming and grinding back from it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd say it's been good for me, actually, because it's helped me get mentally tougher. And, it's just helped me, stay within myself and trust my confidence. And then, just being in the weight room and my teammates supporting me, my coaches supporting me. So it's been good for me all around. I just said I'm just happy to be out here and still healthy right now.
What has this camp meant to you after losing the opportunity last year to really push for playing time?
Oh, yeah, this camp meant a lot to me, you know what I mean? It's just attention to detail, just the little things matter this year, you know what I mean? And I just been trying to make the little things stack every day. And our coach has been saying, we just stacking days and stacking days. So I just try to be perfect every day and come out and compete.
What was the injury? I can't remember how exactly it happened. What was the situation there?
I had dislocated my shoulder, yeah, and it was in a contact period, you know what I mean, just a fluke accident, you know what I mean, inevitable, you can't control it, so you know what I mean, it's just how I've been coming back from it.
You've always performed when you've gotten your chance. Do you feel like it's sort of been stop and start for you a little bit? Has it been tough to get past?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say a start and stop. It's just when I get my opportunities, you know what I mean, I just want to convert on them, I want to execute. You know what I mean? And it's really been about my teammates and my coaches. They support me every day, so I don't look at it as a start and stop. I just look at it as an obstacle I got to overcome.
Braxton, what was the mentality like among the corners who were competing for time when you guys added a transfer at the position with Tyreek this summer?
I mean, yeah, it's been good, but it's been a friendly competition. You know what I mean? We all help each other if we mess up on a certain thing, or if one person does something better than the other, we always just trying to help correct each other and make each other better, because it makes the group better and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So it's been fun, you know what I mean? It's been fun, friendly competition. We're all brothers, you know what I mean? So we want to see y'all do good.
How intense is it?
It's intense. It's intense every day, you know what I mean? And Coach Fish makes it intense for us, you know what I mean? He makes it, he let it be known that we got to come out, we got to perform every day. Yesterday didn't matter, today is what matters.
How has he impacted your room in particular, Tyreek?
Tyreek's impacted our room in a good way, you know what I mean? He's real talkative, he communicates a lot, he works hard, he's tough, you know what I mean? And I think he's going to add a lot to our DBs this year.
With a lot of you guys too, do you feel like your strengths are similar, or is there something that you do especially well and maybe Tyreek does especially well, this other thing, or how would you kind of size that up?
I would say we all just making plays is what we all do well, you know what I mean? I wouldn't kind of trickle it down to a certain thing. I'd say we all just try to make plays every day, you know what I mean? Focus and lock in on our technique.
You've been in the program for a few years. Mike Dawson's now leading the special teams group. How is that different for a guy like you who's trying to get on the field and get some reps? How is it maybe different than it's been?
I mean, Coach Dawson, he makes special teams fun. He makes it fun, you know what I mean? He's real outgoing. He's honest about everything. And he's made special teams a fun thing this year, you know what I mean? Not as like, oh, I'm not trying to get on there. Everybody wants to get on there just because how fun he makes it and how we're all competing at special teams.
How do you make it fun?
Exactly. No, same thing.
Yeah, how do you make special teams fun?
You said, how does he make it fun?
Yeah.
Just the meetings. You know what I mean? The new techniques he's teaching us, you know what I mean? It's easier on us, but it makes us work too at the same time. So it's an all-around thing. The culture's different, everything about it, I'd say.
How many different units are you looking to be on, special teams-wise?
All of them, if I can. All of them.
Thanks, Braxton.
Thanks,
Hey, thanks a lot, Braxton.
For sure.
said, Braxton was up here. He was saying special teams this year is fun, maybe more than it's been. I'm curious, do you sense that or feel like that has been the case this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super involved with special teams, but yeah, from what I've seen, what I've heard, and then Coach Dawson leading that, I think that was a great move by Coach Frost. I think he's honestly the best coach on our staff to do that. Just his personality, how he goes about it. So I think, yeah, he's really turned that around, and I think that's an emphasis for us. We have it at the beginning of practice. That's our main focus. We know that's been a liability for us in the past, and we're hoping to turn it into an asset.
How can you tell just in a camp setting that special teams could be better or might be better based on what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, special teams, a lot of it is, especially in practice, a lot of it's just effort, honestly. It's a ton of running for those guys, and so a lot of it's really just bringing energy and effort. And so from what I've heard, I'm not in the special team meetings, but from what I've heard, it's been really good.
Coach and Andrew said Ty Robinson has really kind of improved on the mental side of the game. Do you kind of see similar strides from him?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, he's obviously still a young kid, and so as the years go on, it's something I've preached to him just from what I've learned is just because you're a year older here doesn't mean you're a year better, a year more mature, and so I've really, you know, I guess pounded that in his head because it's something I wish people would have told me. It goes fast, and you have to be diligent about what you're doing and have a focus and a purpose every day to make that happen. It doesn't just happen naturally.
Has he been very receptive to that kind of advice you've given him?
Yeah, without a doubt. He's definitely willing to learn. He's a smart kid, and he wants to be great.
Ben, I know you're about to get into the Illinois prep, but kind of the camp as it's winding down, what's sort of your review of it? How do you think it went for the defense? Did you see guys keep their intensity throughout it?
Yeah, for sure. I think this was practice 15, and we've only had, I don't know, maybe 3, I guess we had 2 days off before today. So I think we've had 4 total off days throughout that time, but up until this last break we'd only had 2 off days and 14 practices. So yeah, it's definitely a grind for guys, and it's been the best that I've seen it, just intensity-wise, as far as not having drop-offs, lulls. I mean, really, I think energy-wise, we've had like 1 day outside in the middle of camp. Energy-wise, that wasn't it. But other than that, yeah, it's been good.
Nick Henrich was saying how he's noticed the offensive line is really firing off the ball coming at him. Have you noticed a concerted effort for more of a downhill running game from the offense this year?
Yeah, for sure. Especially on the doubles, I think they're really coming off. Cam is at another level, I think, than we've seen him, and a combination of that and the guards are bigger. Piper's bigger, in the best shape of his life too. So I think a combination of that, Cam being great on those doubles, and then the guards also improving, being another year better at that. I think they've been good.
What's that picture look like? Cam Jurgens at another level. I mean, what do you see from him?
Yeah, obviously he transitioned to center, 2-3 years ago. So it's really been a learning process. You're never gonna, especially something like O-line, D-line, you're never gonna, be at your peak your first couple of years. It takes some learning. There's a curve. I think you're gonna see his peak this year. Just as far as his pass sets have been improved tremendously, I think. And then just, in the run, you know what you're going to get from him. He's an aggressive guy, strong kid. So I think that's as is and as it was, but I think where he's really improved is pass setting wise.
Jordan Reilly had a tough 2020 kind of with the injuries, it seemed like, and didn't really get going. But what have you seen out of him as far as how that rotation's coming together? It sounded like he's a piece of it. Yeah,
without a doubt. We're gonna need him. We're gonna lean on him. I guess it's been talked about quite a bit, just his body composition and the change he's made there. That was something I really challenged him in the off season. Was for him to slim down so he could move and make the plays he needs to. He's still 300 plus pounds. He's never going to have an issue holding ground. For him, it's really technique, and he's improved it from the last 6-8 months through spring ball. He's really improved his technique towards the end of spring ball, and then he picked right back up in fall ball. Really buying into that. Another kid that wants to learn, wants to be great, and so I expect a lot out of him.
As one of the team leaders, what are you trying? It's less than 2 weeks. You got a game. I mean, what are you trying to instill now, or is it to a point where it's past rah-rah speeches. What's kind of your message to your guys?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, the rah-rah speeches at this point aren't what we need, aren't what we're looking for, I guess, for our guys. We don't want guys that we need to motivate, right? Everyone should be out there motivated. It's more of a mental side of things, locking in on the details, playing smart football, not beating ourselves, being smart penalty-wise. That's really what we're trying to hone in on in these last 2 weeks. We got playing really smart football.
Do you, as a player, feel a pressure in terms of one-loss record, or is that something for others to concern themselves with?
You mean like our overall record?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a result of what we put on the field, and so, yeah, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters besides that. There's no moral victories. You win or you lose, and that's all that matters.
Casey Rogers was saying that he described the young guys in your room as sponges. Would you agree with that sentiment? What's impressive about those guys?
Yeah, definitely guys that are eager to learn. We obviously have our rotation of guys that are going to play, and then there's guys, they know where they stand, I guess, the gap between the young guys and the old guys. It's how D-line always is. You don't have many young guys that can come in and crack that rotation. So they understand the role and the gap they have to close, and they're not going to close it, and they know that if they're not taking everything in and learning from the older guys, there's no way to close that gap if they don't.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you.